Hey everybody, welcome back to Scribbles with Jonathan. You can check out my website and my work at jonathanrector.com. You can find links to all the cool stuff, mostly Facebook, Twitter, all the stuff that you guys might be online. You guys can check me on there as well. I just wanted to say real quick that a lot of people are asking me about live streams. When do the streams happen? When's all that action happen? Actually, when this video goes live, it will be April. So check out, again, my website. I will be adding a link on there, but check the description for now. It'll be a Google Hangout. You can just check live Scribbles with Jonathan on there. And it's every Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With all that out of the way, what I'm going to tackle in this video here is, it's a little bit of an experiment, so hang with me here. I believe I can speed up the video and talk at the same time, and slow the video down, which is kind of cool. If that works, I don't have to do audio over top of it. I can kind of show you guys a little bit something, like if I have something that I want to talk about. But what we're going to do is this panel right here. Let me just clear that out of the way. It's this panel right here. As you can see, we have sort of a fisheye lens going on here, just to help make it more dynamic, hopefully. One thing I will notice that I feel like I'm missing in this panel is something in the absolute foreground. There's a lot of empty space here, so what I'm going to do is like gesture in some boxes, like something like this, probably even something over like this too, and you guys can probably see right away. Whoops, let's make this like a cardboard box or something, just to give this some more shape going on. But as you guys hopefully can see right away, is just by adding those two elements right there, this shot now has a lot more depth going on. And yeah, one thing that I'm trying to get into the hang of is not relying on the really cool feature of one of the main reasons why I even bought this software, which is the rulers tool, which is really cool. It's this tool right here, and it snaps to your perspective ruler. I know a lot of people that are probably familiar with Manga Studio. This is one of the biggest selling features. For those of you that don't know, for this panel here, I have a 1-point perspective, which is cool because I can draw on here. That's pretty fun. But for the background work, I can just click on lock to perspective, and every line that I draw is going to conform to that actual perspective, which is very helpful. But one thing I'm noticing, at least in my work right now, everything seems to always change on a month-to-month basis, but right now I want to start adding some more, like a hand touch, even though this is digital. A lot of this background here was done with the ruler tool, except this lamp and this headboard and this digital clock. What I'm doing is I'm trying to throw a grid in and draw as best of a straight line as I possibly can. So what do I mean by, okay, not what do I mean, but why I wanted to bring that up is because in this, I've already laid out, excuse me, if I turn which layer do we got going on here? One of these here, I've lowered the opacity on a bunch of these suckers, but this was the original fisheye perspective, and I might leave that on as we're drawing, but I've already done the groundwork here. I've already sketched in everything that I'm going to need. We're going to have some broken windows and stuff over there, but yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten up this figure here, and then I'll come back to you guys, and we'll go over just some of the things that we're going to go on from there. So if all goes well, you'll hear some free YouTube beats. I have no idea how good it's going to sound. Hopefully there's some, anyway, it's music. Listen to the music. Hopefully it's not bad. And yeah, we're going to just tighten up this gesture, this character here, by just giving it some solidity to it. He's almost fine, but we're just going to take it one more step before we actually do the rest of it. So I'll see you on the flip side. Bye. Okay, I wanted to just quickly jump in here because I feel like there's a lot going on. I know this anatomy looks all kinds of what? You know, you got these, like, this looks like it's busted. I'm going to fix that knee. It's going on a different perspective. But this kind of action here, what I find is when you start really bending shapes like this, it helps give it a really cool look, and it gives a little bit more power. That's the whole reason why I'm treating it that way. I know it's not proper anatomy, but and this might sound like a pretty lame excuse, but it's one of the beauties of animation and comics that I really like, is that there's allowed to be some disbelief. Now, there is something to be said about, you know, style, and people could look at that and they just hate it. And then there's a lot of, or there's a few people, or a lot, depends, who just love stuff like that. I am definitely in the category of I love having, excuse me, rubbery anatomy, as I like to call it. Or I've been told that's one of the ways that my drawing tends to be. And there's some cons to that and some pros. The pros would be there's a lot of energy and like dynamic action to it. But at the other side is that it also can mean that they don't look like there's a structure to them. So I'm trying my best to have the illusion that there's some structure going on. The other reason that I wanted to, there's two actually that we're going to continue on here. This character has a lot of belts and pouches and stuff. And one of the cool things that I wanted to bring up, because I don't see a lot of people doing this sort of thing, and again, it could be a style thing, but I think it's just people don't really know too much about it, but you always want to have a cool silhouette. You want to have a cool shape. If you don't know what a silhouette is, do some research online, mostly for concept art, but you have areas like this, and Batman's a perfect example, and he always looks better when you do this. So see how smooth this looks? That's fine. You just put basically pouches on his belt. But if you just start doing this, put like pouches outside of where they should be, it instantly gives the character some more like interest. And you can do this with all kinds of things. Especially you'll see a lot of characters will have swords, and if you put like a sword kind of coming up, and you give him like his little holster there, but you're breaking up a silhouette. You're giving it some more interest. And with superheroes, a lot of their costumes are just pure spandex, and you don't really have much liberty and room to have something unique. Like look at these belts. They're not the belts, sorry, the boots and the gloves. They're all very strict in what they do. They just contour to a forearm. They just contour to a calf. There's nothing really unique about it. And you can't leave everything up to your colorist. But I find myself, again, that just by adding those little things like those pouches there, just using something like that would actually really helps give just some extra interest to the drawing. And here I'm just going to do these ribbon-like shapes for the cape. And as you can see, what I'm trying to do is have all these lines pointing at him. That way, when you zoom out or when you see the whole panel by itself, it's all hopefully pointing at the most important thing in this shot, which is this character. I'm just going to add a couple more lines here for some pulling fabric. What we're going to jump into next is line weights. Now, what I used to do for a little while now, I've changed it up, and I dig where it's going. As you can see right here, I'm just leaving it kind of gross because I know we're going to have some more things blocking it. But what I used to do was I would have a contour line, which is basically an outline of the character to help make them pop over things. And I would just add this really thick line around everything, and for the most part it works, and it looks it's fine. It gets you the results that you're probably looking for. But lately what I've been trying to do is, instead of just doing that, is putting a little bit more thought into it to try to make a more interesting image. And what I've been doing is line weights for that contour. There are times when you need that contour line where things just help make things pop. a little bit more. Like if you have something like right here, we're going to have these giant boxes in the foreground, and I need that to pop over this guy. So what I'll do is have the thicker line over top of that. But this guy's in the middle ground-ish background, more of the middle ground than anything. And what we're going to do right away, you're just going to see, is this line weight. So if I turn off our sketch layer, whoops, and we'll turn off the rough. So as you can see, there he is. He's fine. You know, the way I ink, or at least right now, a lot of what I do, there's already line weights mixed in, which is good and bad at the same time. I'm just going to take it one step further. I'm going to make a new layer. I still call it contour just because it's easier to type. And I need to know where my light source is. So if I look at my roughs again, there's lights coming from above him, and then we're going to have lights coming in from the window. That's mostly going to be done by the colorist, hopefully. But above him is the majority of the light that's going to affect this character. So what line weights do is they help establish depth on a character, okay? They help you solidify shapes, give the illusion of depth. It really helps with pushing and pulling figures. And you can do it, and you wouldn't even have to add shading or shadows. You could just go this step, at least go to this step, and you'll notice a vast improvement in your art, hopefully. Now, if I had drawn this with less like thick lines like this one, the end result here might look a little bit more impressive, hopefully. But if not, we'll see how it goes. Doesn't really matter. So basically the way line weights work is anything that's opposing the light source should have a heavier line, and anything that folds in behind something or over it, as long as it's opposing the light source, should have it as well. So let's start with this hand here, this whole arm. You can get right in there. I know this character is pretty small on the page, so I'm not going to spend too much time. So all underneath here, I'm just going and adding a little bit of a line weight to it. Just making the shoulder a little bit bigger than the bicep because it's more close to us. And the bicep is following this shape here. It's going away from us. I'm just going to carry that line weight over the hand. Into the cloth. What else you get to do with this sort of thing too is it helps you clean up some work or add some extra details too. So this top part of the cloth wouldn't have light or wouldn't have shadow because light's hitting it, but everything underneath it would. And I'm not sure if I'm being very clear with you, if you guys understand the concept that I'm trying to tell you. I do have a video on it. You guys can just check back on my channel and just see if there's anything in there. But just let me know in the comments if this is still too crazy talk for you. And my cat's losing his mind over there. Jessup, relax, buddy. But yeah, just leave a little comment. Let me know if you guys would like an updated video or whatever. Alright, so a lot of the work's already been done on this guy, which is good. So like this whole leg, I probably wouldn't even touch. Down here, we'll add a little bit of heaviness. All this should be dark. I'm just gonna bring out some white just to thin up that line there. Underneath his foot. Relax, Zelda. Cat's getting feisty. Underneath the belt. What's really cool, this kind of looks, if you just did this step with your art, if you're not doing it already, it gives it the illusion of actually doing shadow. Like you don't have to take it any further than this. You can maybe add rendering if you like to, but you don't really have to. So if I zoom out, so that's it. If I turn it off just so you can see, it's not much. It's not much, but it helps it pop just a bit. And this is something I've been doing lately as opposed to just straight adding, you know, like this, like a black liner and everything. And there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. It's again a style choice. And yeah, so that's this guy. He's basically done. What we're gonna jump into next is the meat and potatoes here, the background. So I'm just gonna crank the tunes here. Hopefully you guys you enjoy it. We'll see how far we get with it. Hopefully we can get this whole background finished. But we'll see how long she's taking. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the flip side.